until the right person comes along is so wrong. And that's how a lot of infidelity happens. That's how a lot of arguments happen. That's how people feel like I was held back or I lost myself because you're stuck as being a placeholder.
You're either the placeholder or you're the one that's doing the placeholding.
Yes.
And that's when you find yourself in relationships for long periods of time. Like Krista said, you ignore the red flags, but you really don't care because you don't want to be alone. The relationship isn't even fruitful. Yeah. Yet you're still in it because you fear of starting all over.
Yes.
Oh, I don't put so much time in this relationship. I mean, eventually they're gonna get it. I know they're gonna get it.
Let's be honest. Some of the relationships we called love were actually mirrors of our own dysfunction. When you don't know who you are, your heart will chase people who confirm your insecurity, not your identity. This episode might be uncomfortable, but it's about to set you free.
Let's build this up, brick by brick. Let's fortify this love, brick by brick, more than feelings, babe. Let's build this up, brick by brick.
In this episode, we're gonna talk about identity and why it matters in a relationship. First off, is if you don't know your identity, you're going to attract that very thing that may have caused you to be in a situation that you're in right now.
Yeah.
You ever notice that? You ever notice how, you're dating and you get out of a relationship and then you get the person gets in another relationship and it looks exactly the same as the other relationship?
Yes. And this is good. This is such a good topic because when you don't find your identity in Christ, your purpose, your vision, you're attracting the same type of people, the same type of dysfunction because you're actually looking for someone else to complete you. You're looking for someone else to define you. Yeah. You're looking for someone else to give you value.
Or validate.
And validate you. Yep. Instead of you coming into a relationship already knowing your value. Yes. Already, knowing who you are so that you're adding value to the relationship instead of being defined by it. And that's why a lot of people will say, oh, well, when I became a mom or a dad, or when I got married, I lost who I am. Yeah. I had to find myself. And it's like, why are you losing who you are? You actually should be gaining even more, you don't lose, you're building upon. Yeah. And people say that when they weren't fully in alignment with what God called them, where he called them, and understanding the purpose for the relationship they were going into versus, just doing it because, this is fun. Yeah, absolutely. This is good. This is good. Matter of fact, let's go even deeper, right? Let's talk about the 5 people you date. Okay. When you don't know your identity. Yes, this is good. So the first type of person you date, we'll call it the project. The project. Oh, Lord. Why is it called the project? Well, okay, so the project is you find yourself dating somebody that needs to be worked on. Yeah. You want to feel needed. You want to feel like that you belong, or that your purpose is that person that you want to fix. Yeah. And what happens is it's not your job to fix that person. Yes. So you'll find yourself looking for worth in that person versus looking for worth of who God has already called you to be. Yeah, because now it's a goal of I'm gonna find my satisfaction and my value when I fix your problems. Yes. And it's a distraction that you actually need to work on what's within you instead of trying to make someone else a project. Yes. Yeah. The next one is number 2. Let's talk about the parent. Yeah. When we started dating, and I don't know if you see it this way or not, but I feel like that's kind of where I was. Okay. I feel like when we started dating, I looked to you, it's weird to say, but as a parent, the decision maker, the one that, you know, has it all together and I just kind of like, I know, you know, our last episode we talked about, I just kind of felt like I was just going with the flow, going with the motions, didn't really know what I was even doing, you know, and so I kind of put you in that place.
Yeah.
And so what would that look like for you?
I remember even having a conversation with you because early in our relationship, Krista wanted a baby so bad. She wanted to be pregnant so bad. I'm like, girl, we just got married and you wanted a baby. and I was like, hold on, you know, let's wait. So I tried the dog thing. I got you a dog. I was like, you know, let's do the dog first. That lasted 6 months. And then you still had that desire. But I remember asking you, I said, why did you want to, this is recently because I didn't understand it.
Yeah.
I asked her, I said, why did you want a baby so bad?
Yeah.
And you said, because I just felt like that's what I was supposed to do. I didn't know what else to do, you know. For those of you who don't know, we got married at a young age, very young. She was 18. She had Mariah when she was 19.
Turning 20 a month later,
20,
yeah.
And so I was like, why did you want a kid so young? She said, well, I didn't know what else to do. Like, I knew I was married. I knew I was a wife. I knew I had to, you know, make sure we had, you know, take care of the home, do my wifely duties, make sure my husband was straight. And I was like, okay, I needed a kid. Or you wanted a kid. And I was like, dang, I never knew that. I never knew that was the reason, you know, being young, that's just all she knew. That's all you knew at the time.
Yeah.
But for me, I didn't feel like, I just felt like you looked up to me. I didn't look at it as, you know, the way that you just put it. So that's actually interesting to me to know that.
And it's a realization because also you were very militant. And I think I also was caught up into, you are a person of structure, not necessarily stability.
Right.
And so I was really looking for love, for structure, for direction, you know, and at that time I didn't have that, especially coming from a man. And so it was even easier to place you in that role. And I don't want to get it mistaken. When you get married, it is a transfer of fatherhood that you take on when you know, step into becoming a husband. But there's also an unhealthy way of that happening too.
Most people who get in a relationship that look as their partner more as a parent or mother or father, you know, those that are in a relationship, you're like, oh, she mothers him, or you know, you can tell she. It's typically with people who felt abandoned, as a child, or they dealt with a lot of rejection growing up, or most of the women, to be honest with you, most of the women that, not intentionally, but that I gravitated to, they didn't have a solid father figure in their life. Yeah. And so it makes sense as to why you say what you said. Yeah. You know, because of everything that I just mentioned on those characteristics of somebody that's in that situation. You've experienced all of them, from abandonment to rejection. I remember you saying, you being the youngest, you felt, you know, you felt all those things. Yes. And so I remember you said, I said, what was it that attracted you to me the most? You said you were just so into me. I had never received that much attention before, and I've never felt that much focus on me ever. Yeah. And I was like, wow. Yeah. And that was huge.
Yep. There's many things that I didn't understand. Then when I was talking with Crystal and Justin about many stuff, understanding, conversation, have a conversation, and then I started to understand to myself, to say something wrong, like they're crazy. And then when I started to talk more with Justin, and then I realized I was like, I really needed premarital counseling because I kind of have a similar background. So on my mind, I say, if today it could get there, I could get there too.
It's like now, you know, when we look back at it, I'm just like, oh my gosh, like you sometimes choose a person based off of what you are lacking versus what you're able to give. And man, that is so dangerous sometimes, you know, because if you are going into relationship just based off of I need this and I want this and I don't have this, and you don't even realize what you're doing, because it's not that you're intentionally going in because, oh, I just have nobody. I don't have anyone that focuses or loves me, so I just want this, you know. But when you're doing that, it becomes very selfish. It becomes very codependent. You know, it becomes your person then has to perform for you because they want to meet your need, you know.
I was performing. I ain't gonna hold you. I was performing. I was like, dang.
Yeah.
You know, but go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. You got the role. No. but it's a very dangerous place to be when you're trying to step into purpose with someone.
Absolutely.
Because now it's clouded based off of a need individually and not purpose. And you're not being in alignment with why are we drawn to each other.
Yes.
And you ignore some red flags.
This is true.
So
for those of you that's just joining us, we're talking about the 5 things or the 5 people you date when you don't know your identity.
Your identity, yes.
So another one is the placeholder.
Yes.
Who is the placeholder? What does the placeholder look like? What does that mean?
Yeah. So basically, even with what I just said, you ignore some red flags because you want companionship. You're like, okay, I know they do X, Y, and Z, but you know, I'm not ready to let this go. Even though I know we don't really necessarily need to be together.
Yeah.
I know we're unequally yoked. We don't believe a lot of the same things, but I'm not ready to be by myself. So I'm going to put you in place until the right person comes along. It's so wrong. And that's how a lot of infidelity happens. That's how a lot of arguments happen. That's how people feel like I was held back or I lost myself because you're stuck at being a placeholder.
You're either the placeholder or you're the one that's doing the place holding.
Yes.
And that's when you find yourself in relationships for long periods of time. Like Crystal said, you ignore the red flags, but you really don't care because you don't want to be alone. You're afraid of being alone, or there's not even fruit. The relationship isn't even fruitful.
Yeah.
Yet you're still in it because you fear of starting all over.
Yes.
Oh, I don't put so much time in this relationship. I mean, eventually they're going to get it. I know they're going to get it. But you done spent 4 or 5 years in this relationship and it's going nowhere.
Yeah.
Once again, it's time to step back. There's some internal work that needs to be done in order for internal work. But on top of that, you need to gain your identity.
Yes. And you find yourself in a place where you'd rather have companionship. You'd rather have someone there with you instead of facing yourself. Instead of in any relationship, it's a mirror reflecting your dysfunction, reflecting insecurities, reflecting the things that need to be worked on. Yeah. But you can mask it by throwing yourself into another person versus really sitting and facing, okay, this is Crystal, this is who you are. This is what needs to take place. This is the area that you sometimes project on other people because you haven't taken the time to seek the Father for it, to die to self, to die to flesh, and walk in one with Him. And it reminds me of Colossians 3:3. And that's dying to the old you and fully putting on and stepping into the Spirit of the Lord and what He has for you.
Amen.
You know,
Amen.
So.
That's good. That's good. What's the next one?
The performer. The performer. What this one is all too common. Let's talk about the performer.
So the performer is, you're drawn to somebody, you're drawn to people of a certain status.
Yeah.
Because you feel like that status is what validates you.
Yes. This is how they make me look instead of how they help me to grow. It's almost like having that really nice Louis Vuitton bag, you know, and being so infatuated with having that bag versus what's in it.
Yeah. Yeah. You like the popularity.
Yeah.
You like the attention that you get when you're with this person.
All the accolades.
This person is very well known on, let's say, social media, or you know, they're an athlete, or they just, you know, just a stat. To be honest with you, 9 times out of 10 they're out your league.
Yeah.
But that's only because you haven't figured out who you are and the worth that you bring to the table just yet.
Yeah.
And sometimes those relationships are the ones that I found are more verbally abusive.
Yeah.
Because that person, the person that you're going for, you're chasing after them, and they see that you feel you want that need, you want that I guess you could say not security, but you want that attention.
Yeah. It's easy to manipulate a person that doesn't see their value. It's so easy to manipulate. And it's not even that some people do it because they know where you are, and some people don't even realize that they're doing it. You know, it's easier to be taken advantage of and submit to someone that you feel is superior to you, because it's like, if I walk away from this, I lose status.
Yeah.
If I walk away from this, what do I do? Where do I go? You know, nobody's going to know me anymore. You know, it comes with all of these things, and you're easily manipulated and devalued even the more. So you find yourself doing things you don't typically do, saying things you wouldn't typically say, you know, drinking, smoking, falling into these sins that is not you.
Yeah, it's not even your character.
It's not your character, because you have stepped into being the performer. That is whew.
Good. That's for those, again, this is our last one, so I want to just let you know what we're talking about. We're talking about the 5 people you date when you don't know your identity. And the last one is you date your reflection. You date, me and Crystal, we talked about in another episode, trauma bonding. You been through some things. You've been through a messy divorce, or you're going through a divorce, and somehow you attracted somebody that's going through the exact same thing.
Yes.
And you think that there's a connection. You think that you're building, but what you're doing is you're just relating to one another. You're mistaking the trauma as compatibility.
Yes, come on.
And when you mistake trauma as compatibility, you find yourself stuck right where you are and not growing.
That's right.
There's no true healing in the process when you bring somebody along, or when you attach yourself to somebody that's going through the same thing and they're healing. They haven't went through the healing process, just as you haven't went through the healing process. But when you know that you're going through a healing process, when you can identify that somebody is going through the same thing that you're going through,
yeah, and
you could direct them to where you're going to get help, not try to be the solution to their pain.
That's good.
When you're trying to be the solution to the pain, but you ever hear, what is it called, a man drowning, and you go and try to save them? You ever tried to save somebody that's drowning?
That quickly you become the one that needs to be saved?
I'm laughing, yes. I'm laughing because I was at a lake. This is when I was living in Belden in Michigan. My cousin jumped off the dock and she started drowning. So I was like, you know, I could swim a little bit at that time. I wasn't a lifeguard yet, but I could swim a little bit. I jumped in there and tried to save her, and she was using me as a stepping stool so she could get out, and I started drowning.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
But you know what? That's so crazy, because we do that so much every day. You think, oh, I experienced this, so now I'm the expert.
Yeah. 100%.
No, you are not the expert. You were just graced enough to get out of a thing. Now you need to be the one directing traffic. Direct them to turn right to someone that can actually help them, because, you know, you mask, you know, the fact that there was a trauma there, and now I'm going to try to tell you what to do when I'm not fully healed.
Yeah.
Because you can also easily be pulled back into a thing and start, you know, exchanging And again, mistaking your trauma bonding for compatibility.
Yeah.
And not everything. Now, the things that you go through and a lot of your traumas and things like that, those are your testimonies and they're beautiful. And you absolutely want to be able to share what God has brought you out of, but it doesn't mean he's called you to it.
Yeah.
And so you have to be careful in that manner, but being able to recognize your brokenness in someone else doesn't mean, oh, this is my person. We've been through the same thing, because you mistake it for love. You mistake it from a compatibility.
Right.
I was good at hearing, but I was not good at listening as well. Because I would make an assumption in my own head of what I would hear and then stick with that. And we would bump heads into like, you're not listening to me, that like you're hearing my words, but you're not listening exactly what I'm saying clearly. So that was something that was tough. And during our relationship, like we started to find ways to be like, oh, okay, so let me not say anything until you're done talking. What I did wrong was I run away. I would run away because I felt like that was the only way Zoe was able to hear me, because we weren't able to communicate well enough. Like again, from the listen and hearing, I was trying to get his attention to just like listen to me, instead of maybe in my assumption feeling like defense from him. That the only way in the beginning we were able to communicate and how I felt he could answer to is when I walk away or do something drastic.
Who are you without that person?
Yeah.
When you know who you are without that person, it's easier to spot the red flags.
Yes.
It's easier to find exactly who it is that you were supposed to be with.
Yeah.
It's important to understand, to get that identity, to know your identity.
Mm-hmm.
Take the time to be by yourself. If you don't know how to be by yourself, then it's probably, you don't need to be in a relationship.
Yeah.
I remember when me and Crystal, I've always been in, up until I met you,
mm-hmm.
I was not by myself.
Mm-hmm.
But when I met Crystal, I was in the process of becoming a truck driver.
Mm-hmm.
And I was going through the school, we was always together and stuff like that. But then it was time for me to be on the road as an over-the-road truck driver.
Yeah.
When I went on the road as a truck driver, that was the first time. I'm 24 at this time. Was I 24? Yeah, I was about 24.
Yeah, I think so.
At this time. And that was the first time I've been by myself in that little enclosed space for weeks at a time.
Yeah.
I remember going to the restaurant for the first time by myself at 24.
Yeah.
I remember going to the movie theater by myself for the first time. Eating by myself, I was just by myself. And at first it felt awkward. I was like, man, this feels weird. I felt out of place. I was like, this ain't right. And I started thinking like people around me was like, man, he lonely.
I remember you calling me saying that before. Like, what are people thinking? Oh, I'm eating stuff by myself.
I thought it was awkward. It was weird to me.
Yeah.
But I can honestly say, once I learned how to be by myself, and then I started to see a lot of my errors, a lot of my flaws and areas that I need to work on. But because it's one thing to be by yourself,
mm-hmm.
and so you can work on yourself. But if you don't have somebody that can pour into you, somebody that's on into you, you just by yourself.
Yeah.
There's no real healing going on. You're just by yourself.
Right.
But once I began to, I guess, reach out to different individuals that help pour into me, or mentorship, that's when I began to get clarity on who I was and what I was capable of doing.
That's so good.
So,
and a lot of times people, it's not that you are choosing the wrong person. You don't, need a new partner.
Yeah.
You need clarity in your identity.
Yes.
And then you'll start to date with clarity and not confusion.
Mm-hmm.
You'll stop choosing, the same caliber of people.
Yeah.
And it's understanding true identity And the foundation of that is understanding who you are in Christ.
Yeah.
That's where you start.
What one thing I want to put out there before we sign out
Okay.
is when you know you're ready for a different kind of love, when you know you're ready for more, something that's purposeful, a purposeful relationship, you can look at yourself and start identifying patterns.
Yes.
You begin to identify, I used to tell you all the time, I'm sitting with my emotions.
Yeah.
Because a lot of my decisions were emotionally influenced.
Yeah.
And when I would tell Crystal, there's been times where I'm chill. Everything's good. I'm in a place of peace, but everything around me is chaotic.
Yeah.
And you would see everything going on around us, and then you'll start panicking a little bit. You're like, babe, we need to do this, and the other. And I'm like, dang, she's right. And I'm listening to her. And I'm starting to feel anxiety. I'm like, dang, why am I feeling like this?
Yeah.
And it hit me. I said, oh, shoot. Crystal, I said, babe, you got to stop. I see everything that's going on around us, but it's beyond our control. There's nothing we did everything that we could do. We got to give it to God, and that's it.
That's true.
And she was like, wow, you literally said, dang, you're right. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And that's important to, once you're able to sit in with your emotions and identify, where's this emotion coming from? I used to struggle with lust heavily in our relationship. I'm like, why am I feeling like this? I would get to a certain point and I have to double back and say, okay, this activity happened throughout the day. This happened throughout the day. Oh, this person said this to me. Oh, this is where the lust is coming from, or this is where the anger is coming from.
So you recognize your own emotional patterns.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Being able to identify and who you are, sitting with yourself, being in tune with who you as a person, understanding this emotion triggered this pattern in my life, and being able to put a halt to that.
Well, one reason why, I began to do that, because I was looking for a different type of love, but I was looking for a different type of love from you.
Okay. Yes.
And so in order for me to get a different type of love from you, I had to look at myself.
That's good.
To see what was I doing wrong, or what was I missing? What behaviors, what characteristic traits was I lacking that was allowing you, not necessarily allowing you, that was making you respond to me in a way that I didn't see fitting for our relationship. I'm like, why is she responding this way? Well, it's because of something that I'm doing. I'm not projecting my message correctly. Yeah. And so that came with the lack of identity, knowing that where I am at that moment. Yeah. So.
And even for me, not knowing who I was or what I wanted, what God wanted me to do, I didn't even understand the type of love I wanted from you. Because what I was demanding and what I wanted from you, I set this really high expectation, and I wasn't even clear of the expectation I was setting and what that looked like, because I didn't feel valued. I didn't understand value. I didn't understand, like even when we were talking about earlier of being really young and us getting married and me wanting children. And I do remember a conversation of me saying, I just want somebody that loves me, that wants me. And then now I'm projecting to get something from a child, that I was supposed to be running to the Father for. That's something that I can only get from God. And being able to have that joy and radiate that love and build my spirit internally so that it could overflow and I could properly put you in the right place of where you're supposed to be in my life and not try to overcompensate, as you began to align and I began to realize my value and who I am and what I should be to you, identity figuring that out, finding that, understanding who I am, whose I am, and what I was placed on this earth for made all of the difference. And had we had that understanding before we even met each other, man, things would have been so much easier.
So much better, so much.
But we wouldn't be right here, you know what I mean? So so I'm really thankful for what God has done in our lives so far.
Hey, listen. You can't go out no more better than that. So you might as well go ahead, close us out.
Yes. So one thing that, we want to make sure that we extend to you guys is if you are at a place where you're trying to figure out, your identity and who you are and and the value that you bring to all of the relationships that you encounter, your friendships and your intimate relationships, we want to be able to help walk you through that. So it's an opportunity for you to click the link below to join our Wild Courting Masterclass. This is going to change your life forever. Your perspective on dating into courting and doing it fully understanding your identity is going to truly bless you.
With that being said, we hope you enjoyed this episode. Please share it with your friends, your family, people that you know that are struggling with identity, so you can be a blessing to them. I'm Justin Beard. This is my wife, Crystal, and we're signing out.
Hey, peace.
Let's build this up brick by brick. Let's fortify